This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Welcome back, everyone. Books and zines. So in this video, we are going to get to some of your work. So yeah, let's see what we got this week. You know, I guess this started when a couple people had sent me some zines that they had done. I shared them on here, and then they inspired more people to do work, which I think is awesome because that's kind of how I got into photography, through books and inspiration and that kind of thing. You're going to love this video today because there's some really awesome stuff that I have just unraveled here. But anyway, we are going to start with this little book here. This comes to us from Clay Fisher, who writes, Ted, after watching and following your channel for nearly 4 years, I realized that my obligation to thank you was grossly overdue. From the history of photography series to the photo assignments to the artist series, they've all provided me the tools and inspiration to move my work forward and truly give a photographic life. Love that. Perhaps the greatest experience and lesson learned from your channel has been to produce work in the form of projects that create a meaningful and lasting purpose. Enclosed is an example of such a project that commenced in the spring of 2013. Since that time, this body has been published, exhibited, and led to facilitating photo workshops at this location. If you're ever in Atlanta, please reach out, as I would be honored to give you a personal tour of this amazing and historical cemetery located in the heart of our city. Thanks again for your hard work and rich content that you put into maintaining this channel that I've learned to treasure and appreciate. Much continued success, Clay. Haven't been to Atlanta in quite some time, but I would actually love to see the cemetery. I love that this is a very unified and consistent body of work. Awesome job, Clay. You should be proud. Next up is this book from David Pagoulia, and David writes, Dear Mr. Forbes, pardon the interruption, as I'm sure your mail storage room is filled with letters and packages of all sorts. Yeah, that's an understatement, but we're getting through them. Given that the photographs in the enclosed book are from the 70s, I deemed it appropriate to use the common 20th century approach to communication, a letter and a printed book, so I'm writing you from the past. I have photographed most of my life for approximately 50 plus years. I have had in the past some minor and group exhibitions years ago. I learned through the experience that I couldn't make my living as a photographer. In the early 70s, I started to develop a signature sort of style or characteristic look. I don't consider myself a quote-unquote street photographer. That seems to be a marketing rage these days, but more of a surreal photographer. My early influences on photography were a mix of the old Ingmar Bergman black and white movies, an obscure photographer Clarence John Laughlin, original Twilight Zone episodes, the artist De Chirico, and other influences that drove my motivation of image. The enclosed book, Philadelphia Light, is my first body of work where I felt I had developed a consistent way of seeing. The other part of this story is that this is one of the only remaining film-based portfolios where I still have the negatives. Many of these photographs I did print in my darkroom over 40 years ago. In 2009, during a house move, my film-based work went missing. I do have one-of-a-kind prints from these portfolios, but that's all that remains. So the lesson is that even though we may have excellent photographs in boxes, cases, trunks, and now digital files, but without a purpose and motivation of image to create a body of finished work, they remain just that. Boxes of pictures. At least one of my portfolios is now complete, and it's not just a box of photos. Thank you for reading my letter, and thanks for the show. All the best, David. Wow, David, that is a cool story, and I really love this book. It's quite awesome. Thanks for sharing this, because I love in there that you said that when you were studying, you learned that you were not going to be a professional photographer, yet at the same time, your passion drove a body of work, and that's what's important. The other thing that is, I think, extremely essential that I want to call out on this, because I think it's cool, and it's something I'd like to see more people do, is if you're going to put pictures on facing pages, in other words, you're experiencing them as a layout, they do need to relate to one another. Excellent job. This is really cool, and thank you for sharing, David. Awesome work. Also, a great reminder of the fact that images are fragile, and we can lose them, and that is not a good thing ever, but I'm glad you have this little portfolio to show for it, so really, thanks for sharing, man. This is awesome. All right, this is really cool. So you guys might notice there is a consistency of a lot of the stuff that comes in, and there are two things that I want to share with you here that are very much handmade. So this is a zine that kind of comes as a newspaper type format, which is really pretty cool. And this comes to us from John, who just writes, Ted, I'm a huge fan of your YouTube channel and thought you might enjoy this little project of mine. Cheers, John. This is awesome. On the back of this zine is text that reads, "Swim Call is a visual periodical of swim spots and swim culture." These are photographs by John Peabody. John, this is awesome, and it's a very different medium and format than what we tend to see in the Mailtime videos. Now, I know it's really easy because there's Blurb and there's other outlets that let you do essentially one-off printing in book format, or at least zine format, of what it is that you're trying to do. But the fact that this is a news sheet type of format is really cool. It's very different. I think the color is outstanding on here. This is actually very well printed, and it's just something I'll remember. Anyway, John, this is awesome. Thanks for sending. Okay, this is really cool. So this entire zine is handmade, including the binding on the side. So I want to get into this real quick, but first I want to give a shout out to the folks that make these videos possible. This is our sponsor this week, who are the awesome folks over at Squarespace.com. Listen, you need a website, and we all know how much work that is to build and maintain, but it doesn't have to be. Squarespace is by far the easiest way to build your online presence. It's also the best way to grow a business that works for you without having to write a single line of code. Do you just need a simple portfolio or a blog to showcase your work? Well, Squarespace is perfect, featuring a drag and drop interface. It's intuitive, it allows you to build galleries quickly and update your site with ease. Are you running a business? Well, Squarespace gives you additional tools for things like appointment scheduling, private member areas, social media tools, and even advanced email marketing. Do you sell products or services? Well, Squarespace has you covered with complete tools to power your store, from merchandising to checkout, so that you can sell, ship, and build your customer base. You can even sell classes or manage appointments through your website. And with Squarespace extensions, you can easily sync with third parties to manage, optimize, and enhance your website. From social media integration to SEO, Squarespace gives you all the tools you need to grow a business that works for you. So head over to Squarespace and sign up for the free trial. Start with one of their award-winning templates and see what you can create and just how good you're going to look. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AOP and I can save you an additional 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Just use the offer code AOP on checkout. So give it a try and see if Squarespace is right for you. And I want to give a special shout out and thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. All right, so this is from Sean Kobe Sandoval, who is at the Royal Academy of Arts, The Hague. Also comes with a note that says, "Ted, my name is Sean Kobe Sandoval, and I'm an aspiring artist from Huntington Beach, California. In the fall of 2017, I moved to the Netherlands to study photography at the Royal Academy of Art for a 4-year bachelor degree. To further provide my gratitude, please enjoy a recent publication I made during my second year of studies. Are You Awake? Is a research project intended to help rejuvenate my spirit by method of traveling through 4 countries in Europe, all of which was photographed on film to help me encourage to live in the moment. The quotes in the book are handwritten by myself and taken from actual quotes I heard during my travels. The book itself is handmade and stitched by myself. All the best, Sean." All right, Sean, thank you for sending. This is awesome, and this is another one that I want you guys to take note on. There's a little theme going here where different is good, and sometimes when things are handmade and they're a little rough, they have more of an organic quality to it that, at least for me, I respond to, and I absolutely love this. So if you're thinking about doing a book or a zine and you're just worried about the quality, don't. Make it crude. Make it by hand. This stuff is really awesome. So Sean, great work. Thanks for sharing. Next up is a zine from Paul Terrell called Fast. Equally fast is his note, which simply reads, "This is a copy of my first zine. Hope you like it. I started to take photographs when I was a child. I have published 2 photo books, one in high limited edition and the second that is instead in the best bookstores around here, etc. Best regards. I am on YouTube as Paul Terrell. My channel is not just photography, but it is my priority window to others through social media." Excellent work, Paul. Thank you for sharing this. This was some really nice work today. I'm super excited about this. And I mentioned this in the last video, and I've got some ideas, but I'm not real sure where this is going to go just yet. I want to talk more about zine and book publishing from kind of soup to nuts, start to finish kind of thing, because people have asked me about that. If you have any ideas of what you guys might like to see, drop them in the comments below, because I've got some, I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but I've got some things I'm working on. We've done photo assignments before, and maybe there's something there with zines, or maybe there's a way to bring these two things together. I'm not sure. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts, so let me know what you think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, later.